Welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melisa Caprio. Do you believe in magic? What if you were told that all you had to do was get a little creative and work a magic spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Here on Postcards to the Universe, we will share manifesting, tips, postcards, creativity, abundance, and prosperity. Here is your host, Melisa Caprio.
Hello and welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melisa, creating the life you crave. How's everybody doing this week? I hope you guys have had a nice week. It's been a very busy week for me. I have been writing away. I swear there are not enough hours in the day to do everything I need to do. I need an assistant. I have been working a lot this past week, and I'm also been scheduling some really amazing guests for future shows who I'm super excited about, and I will make those announcements when I have the dates set up. I've also been photographing a lot this past week, both for my Magic Monday messages and for the new book that I'm working on, and that's been fun. Anytime I get to photograph that, I get to tap into my creativity. That's fun. This week's Magic Monday message with its image that I took a picture of and created, and its affirmation, I am the artist of my life. That was the affirmation for this week. And I wrote a lot about this affirmation yesterday. And it's true that we are the artists and our life is the canvas. So what do we want to paint on our canvas? Or for me, I like to use the metaphor, what do I want to put in the frame of my picture before I press the shutter button and take the shot? We don't think of our lives as artwork, but it really is. And you can easily tell when someone cares about themselves by how they live their life and how they are. It shows on their canvas. Is it beautiful, or is it just a splatter of paint that has no color? How does that transfer to a person and a person's life? And what does their life look like? Is it filled with love and kindness and compassion? And are they paying that forward in how they treat their family and friends and strangers? Or does their life look like chaos and cruelty and selfishness and greed? So when I was writing about that yesterday, I was really thinking about it. And it's true. We are the artist of our lives, and our lives are the canvas that is manifested. And we manifest at the level that we are, which I talk in great detail about in my already published book, Postcards to the Universe, Harness the Universe's Power and Manifest Your Dreams. Yesterday, I happened to get an email, and I got my latest sales, and it's selling, which I'm very grateful for, but not as much as I would like. Getting your book to stand out among the crowd of other amazing authors is a challenge, and nowadays, authors have to do a lot of their own marketing. I'm grateful, of course, that I have a publisher who is also marketing and supporting me and my book, and also other authors at Mango. But we are now also, in the mix with self-published books, where it used to be that before, if you self-published, you literally had to pay for your own printing. So there wasn't very many of those on the market. There were really a few of them. But now, you guys know, with Amazon and everything online and books selling online, it's a different world. In this past year, we've been doing everything online. So anyone can have a book, which is good. It has its good points because many amazing writers who can't get picked up by an agent or a publisher can now have their book published. But it also means there are many bad ones out there. So having a book in today's world really has to stand out. I've already been doing so many things to market it. So if anyone has any ideas on how to get my book to stand out in the crowd, hey, let me know. I'm open to any ideas. I have to think outside the box because I'm very proud of it, and I believe it deserves to be read, right? That's why writers write their books, because we want readers to read them. And my book offers a way to combine love and manifestation and art, and is filled with some great postcards and photographs and amazing stories. Today I have my returning guest, Reverend Gregory Possman, on, and he's going to bring Quan Yin along to channel, and she titled today's talk, "You Are a Miracle." So we'll find out what that means soon when I bring him out here. If you guys are on social media and you are looking to join a fun and inspirational group, I have one. It's called Postcards of Love. It's public, and I share uplifting stories, and you can share also, and heartfelt messages and lots of animal stuff because I love animals. And I just want it to be a feel-good place. Nothing negative. It's all positive stuff. Let's focus on the positive stuff in the world. So if you want to join, go to Facebook and look up Postcards of Love, and you can join. And you guys can connect with me if you want to. If you go to my website, postcardstotheuniverse.com, to see everything that I'm doing, and you can check out my book if you feel so inclined. I would appreciate it. Next week, I have Christina Lafrance on, and she's a psychic and an intuitive guide. She's a powerful motivational speaker, charismatic broadcast personality, and spiritual teacher in demand for her guidance, wisdom, and capacity to help you heal your soul. I love Christina. She really does great radio. You guys are really going to love her. She's so cool. So that's going to be next week's show. All right, to get to my guest today, Gregory Possman. Here's a little bio on him for those who aren't familiar with Gregory. Gregory channels over 40 light beings, including Sananda, Archangels Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel, as well as Master Teacher Spirit Quan Yin, and that's who's joining us today, Mary, 5 members of the Council of Shambhala, and he also channels the Palladians, the Syrians, and the Venusians. Welcome, Gregory. I'm so happy to be talking with you today. How are you?
Fantastic. It's a beautiful day in the universe.
Good. I don't know. We try to get Gregory to connect with the app, but for some reason, I don't know, Spirit likes you using your phone, Gregory. I don't know what that's about, but that's okay, as long as I can hear you.
I'm sure there's a reason. I have no idea what it might be.
I'm sure, too. So you were supposed to be on my the last time you were on my show was in November, so it was still 2020. And you were I think you were coming on in December or January, but you couldn't because you were having some family stuff going on. So how is your family? How's everyone doing?
Well, my wife had a bit of an emergency situation at the end of December, and she has improved incredibly. I think we dodged a bullet.
Thank God.
The treatment that she was going to get was done earlier, and it was less invasive and less intrusive. And so I'm very grateful. She's still with us, and she's getting better and better every day, and I think it's fantastic. So I'm very, very grateful.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm glad she's doing better, because that must have been very scary, especially being so isolated from the rest of your family because of quarantining, because I know you guys have been quarantining and not seeing the rest of your family. So I'm glad she's doing better. Yeah.
Well, it's also given me a bit of appreciation for all the people out there who have lost family members, and also for the people that are isolated and can't see their loved ones. Very challenging, very difficult. And when you have a mate and you're in the house, so to speak, and at least you have the companionship of every day being with someone. And then we've got our cats, and of course people have their pets. But I think the opposite of it can also be the case, where being cooped up with one another, certainly not in my case, but in a lot of cases, it's very difficult for people, and they're reaching the end of their ropes. And I think just before we came on, I was thinking about how many people are going into meditation and Qigong and Tai Chi and all the other kinds, yoga and all the other kinds of spiritual paths that people can go into. And I believe that's one thing this pandemic has created for us.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think so too. I know a lot of people who this time has benefited them in a lot of ways. But, and then like you said, there are some of the others that this has been very challenging, very lonely for a lot of people who are completely isolated. I've heard that the divorce rates have gone up during this pandemic. I don't know if that's true. I did hear that though. And I wonder if it's, people being isolating together has really put a strain on the relationship, right? So I think this has brought about a lot of things, a lot of changes for a lot of us. And I'm just happy now that there is some movement in the vaccine that seems to be helping bring the numbers down, so that's good news. Yeah, that's really good news. So hopefully we'll get out of this sooner than later. Yeah, because it's been like, you get stir crazy. You want to go out and do stuff,
Well, I think that the opportunity and the motivation to get out into nature has been fantastic. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, all the things that we use for distraction, like movies and so many other activities, concerts and things of that nature where we're all together in very close proximity, obviously those are no longer available. And many of the people's favorite places to go, bowling alleys and all the other, I don't know what people like to do, but those places are not available. And so that level of distraction has gone way, way down. And I think that probably contributes to people feeling their emotions and going into whatever conflicts they have with the people that they're close to. And of course, it makes people who didn't have to be together kind of living a parallel life where they maybe have seen each other at 10:30 at night or whatever until 7 in the morning when they woke up. It's forcing them to face their issues, and that is tough. That is very, very tough.
Very, very tough, especially because they don't know when they can get out of it, right? We still don't know when. There's no end date, like we don't know when that's coming. So it's definitely been a challenge. But what I was thinking of today that has nothing to do with anything that we were just talking about, that I've had you on a show a number of times, and never had the Palladians, the Syrians, or the Venusians come through to for you to channel. And for people who don't know what that is, I was thinking maybe you can share a little bit about who they are. I think they're from different planets, correct?
Well, let's say that a long time ago they were from different planets, mm-hmm. and I'll certainly be happy to go into that. In fact, I'll go one step further and promise you that the next time I come on, I will be happy to channel only extraterrestrials, if you will.
That would be kind of cool. That would be cool.
That could be our theme for the next time.
Yeah. So if anybody listening right now has a question that you want me to ask the extraterrestrials, please email me. That would be great. Okay. Yeah. So you said a long time ago. So are they on our planet now? Are they on Earth?
Well, if you change the way you think about extraterrestrials, everybody expects them to show up in a ship. People mm-hmm. expect them to be, if they're from Mars, they're green. They mm-hmm. expect them to be bipeds like we are. And my experience of the beings that I'm channeling is that they're an incredibly high consciousness. The Syrians, for instance, they have all the technology that we have never even come close to. And they look at our technology as if it came out of a museum somewhere. And we're talking about the tiniest little corner of the oldest stuff that you can imagine, because they are so far ahead of us, and they literally have solutions for just about everything. In fact, I'll probably go so far as to say everything that we suffer from on this planet.
Wow.
The difficulty, the challenge is that there are still people on our planet whose consciousness is not one of unity, but rather one of separation. There's still a lot mm-hmm. of people out there who want to build empires and take over and control other people and money and everything else. And what they say is these technologies that they have available, one of them I'll tell you about, a little black box that literally fits in the palm of your hand and allows you to manifest anything you want. Anything.
I need that black box.
Yes, we do. We all want one. But what they say is the only way that they would ever introduce that would be if, in fact, all of us got to that point where we realize that if we harm another person, we're harming ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
So if you think about how far in consciousness we may have to go to get to that point, it could be a while.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. And what you were talking about and what they think right now is, I mean, we see it plays out. We see it on the news. We see it in stories about the separation, and the ones who are not looking at, the whole planet as, what affects the one affects the whole. They're still in that ego and greed and mine and you are over there and I'm over here. So I can see how we are nowhere near ready for that at all as a whole species. But that's pretty exciting to know that exists. And I am going to be excited to have that conversation next time you come on, and we'll focus on that. But for today, we're going to bring on Quan Yin, because I asked Gregory what he thinks before the show, if there's somebody specific. And I'm just saying she for purposes of, talking. She said yes, that she wanted to come, and said, you are a miracle. So we're going to take our break now. And when we come back, we're going to bring on Quan Yin and ask why she said you are a miracle. I'm excited to hear this. Stay tuned.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes. Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hi, I'm Melisa Caprio from Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave. Do you believe in magic? What if I told you all you had to do was get a little creative and work a dream spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Well, guess what? I've got the spell for you. Postcards to the Universe, a global movement for manifestation, is a casting magical tool for you to use whenever you want. How does living in passion sound to you? Join me in my movement where you get to create in the magical playground. Let's think outside the box and do some playful conjuring. By casting out our desires with a manifesting postcard, we explore our hearts and allow the alchemy of our dreams to appear. And don't forget to tune in each week here on OMTimes Radio with my show, Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I share tips on creativity, abundance, and prosperity, and you will be introduced to the coolest guests, trailblazers, mystics, and creatives who enrich our lives.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
The rainbow is God's promise of hope for you and me. And though the clouds hang heavy and the sun we cannot see, we know above the dark clouds that fill the stormy sky, hope's rainbow will come shining through when the clouds have drifted by. Teresa Caprio is the president and founder of Rainbow Guardian Inc., a nonprofit 501c3 serving the intellectually challenged / developmentally disabled, including autism. Teresa started the foundation in 1995 so she could help make a better life for her intellectually challenged daughter. Her dream is that the Rainbow Guardian will provide the necessary tools and education to help the public understand the special needs population, because it's often discarded in mainstream society. To find out more or make a donation in support, please go to www.rainbowguardian.org. Rainbow Guardian's special mission is to see these unique people live a happy, full life and have a future of liberty and equality.
Welcome back. Okay, so Gregory is a psychic channel and our trance channel, and he is going to be channeling Quan Yin. Is there anything, Gregory, you want to say first before we go?
Well, it may sound like an advertisement, but I do a free channeling on my website every month. And in February, Quan Yin came through, and the title of her, I titled it, Opening to Miracles. So it is about a 20-minute message on how to go into this process of creating miracles. And so anybody who wants to go a little bit deeper could just go to the website, listen to that monthly message, and that would be a sort of auxiliary to what we're going to do today. So,
nice.
It's GregoryPossman.com. It's real easy to find, and on the front page, you just go down, and you'll see the monthly message, and it will be Quan Yin, and it will all be about miracles.
Okay, and I will mention to Quan Yin that I still have to take a break at the at the 40-minute mark. So, hopefully she'll be okay with that. But she has been before, so it's not been a problem. All right, whenever you're ready, I am ready.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Greetings, perfect daughter. We bow to your most divine essence. That we are the one called Quan Yin. We have been described, goddess of mercy, compassion, and forgiveness. And it is to understand that we have also been called Divine Mother. That these titles, they mean nothing to us. They are all for identification of your left brain, so to speak. And it gives you some idea of what we have been called in the past. How be you upon this day?
Thank you, Quan Yin, so much for joining me again. I am very excited to be speaking with you. And as I was talking to Gregory, and he told me that you were going to come through today, he said that he heard this, that you are a miracle, and he couldn't tell me what it meant. So I thought that I would ask you, what did you mean by you are a miracle?
One of the reasons that you speak with us is, of course, to allow a different perspective, if you will. And it is to understand that from our perspective on our side, each and every one of you is a miracle. If you think about the courage it took for you to manifest in the physical, in this realm where everything moves so slowly, where you have a physical body, a body that can be infested with all kinds of biological, fungal, and molecular kinds of disease or imbalance. That is miraculous. But you see, the majority of you do not think about this on any basis. It is just life. It is what you are used to. It is what you face. And yet, it is all about the lessons that you can learn here. And another aspect of your miraculous nature is that this is the only dimension where many of these lessons can be learned. And then, as bizarre as it may sound, imagine hundreds of thousands of beings desiring, lining up, if you will, to enter into this experience, this dimension, this reality. And some of you are thinking, but why? Why in heaven's name would they want to come here with all of these challenges and horrible things that can occur? It is because they realize that this is the only place where many of these lessons can be completed and learned. And so, when you consider the kind of influence that you have, not only on self, but on other people, and then, strangely enough, on those on our side who are learning from you. You do not think of it in those terms.
No, we don't think of it in those terms. And when you said, how can that be? Why in heaven would they want to be coming here? I do have to confess that I did think that myself. Okay, so in going with what we're talking about, can you offer some guidance for us on how we can see others also as a miracle, especially those who do harmful things to people and the planet? How can we view them as a miracle?
First, you must focus upon the aspect of unity. If those who do all of these horrible things suffer from your judgment of them, in other words, they are bad and you are good. If instead you were to ask the question, what part of their actions reflect the darker side of my own energy? If you were to ask that question, and if the answer were plainly obvious to you, you could say, well, in some way I am like them because I have thought about doing that. Instead, I have done this or that or the other. Then you begin to see that there is not some great separation. And imagine if one day you decided to visit one of your prisons, a place of incarceration for all of those who are considered criminal on your planet. And if you went inside and you got to know even one person, and you sat and talked to them for a few moments, you would begin to see that there is hardly any difference between you and they, except for that massive block wall and all of that barbed wire that separates you. And you see, in truth, the difference is minimal. They have been caught and they have suffered the consequences of their actions. And yet there are hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions, who have never suffered the consequences of their actions. But it is easy to single out those who have been caught and to judge them and to make them wrong for whatever they have done. You see, the truth of the matter is this. We are not condoning their behavior. And perhaps it is wise that they suffer for whatever they have done, paid their debt to society, as you would say. On the other hand, the Creator has forgiven them 1,000 times, because in truth, whatever they have done, they have made that arrangement with another so that other could learn. Those whom you call victims, they have made arrangements with these perpetrators or persecutors if you call them that, so that they can learn something in this lifetime. And oftentimes, they had done the same to others in other lifetimes. So, when we say that you are all miracles, that is the truth. And the miracle does not become obvious until after you have crossed over to the other side. And then you will find a perpetrator on that side, and all of you will have a great celebration because you have learned a lesson. But you see, one of the lessons is to forgive. So if a man or a woman who has been raped by another is capable of finding forgiveness in their heart for the one who perpetrated that action upon them, abused them, so to speak, they can learn what it is like to be able to relate and to identify with the aspect of forgiveness. Otherwise, they suffer hatred for years and years and years. And ultimately, it probably is going to create a disease in their own body. But it is that one single act of forgiveness that allows them to find freedom in their life and create the miracles that they so desperately desire. So we would ask all of those who are listening to us, who is that person in your life that you refuse to forget and forgive because they have not lived up to your expectations, and therefore you carry this hatred for them? In fact, whether you realize it or choose to admit it, you are actually hating self, because that person is not separate from you. They are actually united with you. Forgiveness is so powerful. It is a long answer to a short question.
No, it's a good answer because you answered some follow-up questions I actually had about us creating those circumstances for our own learning, and that the victim is part of the contract that they made with the perpetrator, so to speak. But so then my question now would be, why do our souls, spirits, whatever anyone wants to call them, choose to come to Earth to have these lessons? Why do we even need to do that or want to do that?
It is an extremely unique place. It is vested in time and space, and there are so few other dimensions that carry those same characteristics. It is the place where you, who are a light being, has chosen to take upon a physical manifestation. You call it a body. And everything that is created comes out of your own imagination. So when you ask, who is responsible for what has occurred on this day, you must look in the mirror and say, perhaps it is I. And in truth, it is. But you see, the brain, the left side of the brain, it does not desire to take responsibility for much of anything. It must be someone else's fault. It must be something that I ate. It must be something that I drank. It must be that person's fault. And then you spend tons and tons of time trying to assess blame, which is completely and totally useless. The question is, if I am a miracle, how do I change my creation? The answer: first, I accept who and what I am. Does that mean I cannot change? Of course not. It means that I am willing to start at the starting gate. Imagine a horse is about to run a race, and instead of putting him into the starting gate, they put him in the opposite direction, behind the starting gate. In other words, he is going the opposite way that he would have to go to win the race. Well, that is what you are doing when you are blaming everyone else. Because the first thing you must do is get into the gate and accept the possibility that when the gate opens, you have a choice. You can choose to run, or you can stand there and go nowhere. And if your entire life is spent blaming another, it's their fault, then you are never going to be in the race. And you will not get to experience the miracle of winning or losing. You never move, ever. And that is not why you came to this universe. You came to learn. You came to be appreciated, and you came to appreciate yourself. Let us ask you a question. Have you ever felt, when you made an accomplishment, that your soul is pleased and feels fulfilled? Have you had that feeling?
Yes, I have had that feeling before.
It is magnificent, is it not?
Yes, it is magnificent. Yes. It feels very good. Feels very good. Yes.
And you are manifesting your soul's desire, your soul's expression, by the very thing that you do, day in and day out. The camera is a tool that you use to record some aspect of reality. And then you place words to the picture. And all of a sudden, you are touching hundreds, thousands, millions of people. Your book. What is your book? It is an expression of your soul. And you touch everyone who reads the words on the page. That is energy. Why do these beings want to come to Earth? Energy. Lots of it.
I love that. Thank you. All right, let's take our break right now because we need to do that. And then we're going to come back, and I have so many more questions for you, Quan Yin. Thank you. Stay tuned, everyone.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Imagine yourself being transported to India, to the banks of the Ganga and an ashram in Rishikesh. Visualize that you are welcome to satsang with an American sannyasi who shares the wisdom of her guru. Your visualization has manifested. Join Sattvi Bhagawati Saraswati for inspiration and transformation every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Hi, I'm Melisa Caprio from Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave. Do you believe in magic? What if I told you all you had to do was get a little creative and work a dream spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Well, guess what? I've got the spell for you. Postcards to the Universe, a global movement for manifestation, is a casting magical tool for you to use whenever you want. How does living in passion sound to you? Join me in my movement where you get to create in the magical playground. Let's think outside the box and do some playful conjuring. By casting out our desires with a manifesting postcard, we explore our hearts and allow the alchemy of our dreams to appear. And don't forget to tune in each week here on OMTimes Radio with my show, Postcards to the Universe, Creating the Life You Crave at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I share tips on creativity, abundance, and prosperity, and you will be introduced to the coolest guests, trailblazers, mystics, and creatives who enrich our lives.
Coping 19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
If you're feeling increasingly lonely right now, you're not alone. It's totally normal. Even though we may not be able to get together in person, connecting virtually with friends and family still gives you a chance to interact with people and may help raise your spirits. Join a virtual book club, set up group text chats, or online video coffee breaks with coworkers.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
Welcome back. Quan Yin, are you still with me, with us right now?
We are always with you.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that, but we are required by the laws of, I don't even know, the earth, things we have to do on this planet. I appreciate that your patience and staying with me. And I was thinking about during the break what you said about my book, and it's just so beautiful the way you described it. And it's interesting because I was saying that our life is our art and how we live our life. So it's very similar to what I was talking about and writing about yesterday. So I'm just amazed that that's what you said. So it's wonderful. I want to talk a little bit about what's going on with us on our planet right now. And I know a lot of people are really worried about what's going on with the vaccines. So I wanted to know if you could give us any information that you have about the vaccines that are rolling out right now.
If you are the creator of your reality, are you not also the creator of your physical body? And it is quite coincidental, although there is no coincidence, that tomorrow the man through whom we speak, the one called Gregory or Ashid, will get his first vaccine. And there is a minor amount of anxiety in him, but then he reminds himself, I choose how I will respond to this mixture, if you will, of molecules that will be placed in my body. And my intuition tells me that it is okay. And so it is a commitment that is made. Now, there may be some kind of reaction, but does there have to be? No. The answer is no. Many times he has overexerted his physical body. And he says to himself, I will pay the price tomorrow. And then he thinks, I have been taught otherwise. I have a choice. I am the creator. And then he awakens the next day, and there is no pain. There is no stiffness. Because you must remember, you are the creator. Now, there are those who think that is very egotistical. No, it is not. Because you are a co-creator with whatever source, strength, or power you believe in. And if you don't believe in any, then you are the creator, the only creator. And that is okay too. So, it is when you forget, it is when you choose not to take responsibility that life becomes challenging and difficult.
That's true. So if we are the co-creator and we created the vaccine, is there anyone who shouldn't take it, like children who are on the autism spectrum? I have a nephew who's on the spectrum, and should those children also get vaccinated? They can't speak for themselves, a lot of them.
It becomes their parents' lesson to speak for that child. And the truth of the matter is, it is not to say that any child who contracts the disease will live. They can die. But you see, that is another part of the choice. Many of you see death as failure. Death is just another form of healing. Does that remove the severity of the responsibility for the parent who makes the choice for their child? Of course not. But you see, they must also tune into their own intuition and make the choice for themselves. You see, the very nature of the question tends to place the responsibility on some empirical truth outside of self. And each of you here creates your own truth. When the man heard a vaccine would be available, he thought to himself immediately, it will be okay if I take it. And many have come to him and said, do not take it. It is a horrible thing. It will disturb your DNA. It will do this. It will do that. No, it will do that for them because that is their belief. He expects to have little or no reaction to it at all. We shall see. He shall see. But you see, the question you ask extends outward and asks for an empirical answer, which we cannot give. It is up to each parent and each individual to decide for their child what is appropriate and what is not. And then, if there is an outcome that they do not approve of, then what must happen? They must forgive themselves. They must accept that their intuition told them to do something, and the outcome was not the expectation. But you see, in the human existence, it is your expectations that get you into so much hot water, as you say.
That's the truth. There are so many people who have fallen into deep conspiracy theories over these past few years, and it feels like it's fueling some of the separation that you mentioned earlier. Do you have any thoughts on that?
It is fascinating to us that you as a species can find so many things to divide yourselves over, including this imbalance or dis-ease, which is viral, of course. But you see, you can turn anything into a political or a conspirator type of process, when in truth, if you stepped away for a moment from the belief system and you simply allowed yourselves to say, look, we are all in this together. This disease does not care about your politics. It does not care very much about your race. It could care less about your gender. It cares about one thing, whether you are a good host or not. And that does not mean it will kill you. That does not mean that you will die. Its question is, what can you learn? It is like cancer or heart disease or any other disparity in the body. What is the lesson? It is here to teach you. It is not a function of political packaging, so to speak. It is not a function of who is right and who is wrong. It is a question of what is the consequence. And therefore, your own decision whether or not to protect yourself must come from your intuitive nature. Like all decisions on your planet, each of you is a miracle. Each of you has choice. And that is what everything comes down to. What is my choice? What do I choose to do? Quick example. This man through whom we speak, he loved to travel. He loved to have adventures. He has traveled very little in the last year, and yet his life has become a great adventure. He has learned the meaning of commitment. He has learned about grounding. He has learned about being totally responsible for another. Those are lessons. They are awareness. We are not saying they are lessons he wanted to learn. No, indeed not. He had no desire whatsoever to learn them. But he is changing. And this disease, this pandemic, as you call it, is changing all of you. You may not like it, but you are going inside. You are learning so much about yourselves. And we heard your conversation earlier. The divorce rate is rising. Why? Because those who find themselves in relationships they do not want to be in are forced to take action. And we want to apologize for what we are going to say. Human beings can be extremely lazy. And instead of changing their circumstances, they can learn to live with them. And that is not always a lesson learned. Oftentimes, you call it a rut. You are stuck, like your wagon wheel is stuck in a rut. Well, that rut could be a relationship. It could be a career. It could be a job. It could be anything. And you are forced to move out of it. That is the drama that creates the lesson learned. And once they are divorced, they have freedom of choice again to live their life according to their own desires, their own soul's expression. And one of the lessons is to learn to trust again that they will not be hurt the next time, that they will create either a relationship with self that is rewarding or a relationship with another that is also rewarding. But first, they had better create it with self.
Well, Quan Yin, I want to thank you. We only have a couple of minutes, and I know have Gregory come back before we sign off. Is there anything that you want to leave us with before you go today?
Before you get out of your bed tomorrow morning, before your feet hit the ground, you say to yourself two things. Today will be a great day, and I am open to miracles.
Thank you. I am so honored that you were here with me and with us today, and it's wonderful speaking with you, and I hope to speak with you again. Thank you. Thank you.
Remember, we are just a reflection of you. Because we are one and the same, so be it. Oh,
Welcome back, Gregory. God, every single time. Every time it trips me out, man. I am like, I can't imagine what it must be like from your perspective. Oh my God. That was so wonderful. And I got to listen to the show when I can really fully take it all in. You know, so Gregory, anything you want to share with anybody before we go? Because we have like a minute left. That was so amazing.
My wife, Sandy, and I wish you all the best, all of you, and ask that you make responsible and joyous decisions every single day. That's all I have.
Thank you. And you guys, seriously, you need to go check out Gregory's website. And he does private sessions with you. So if you want to book a private session with him, I highly recommend it. Go over onto his website. It's www.gregorypossman.com. It's GregoryPossman. All right, guys. Thank you for listening to Postcards to the Universe with Melisa. Creating the life you crave. Wishing everyone a wonderful week filled with joy, abundance, and love. Peace.